Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm Tiara. What I'm about to share with you all today is probably going to sound completely wild and insane to some people, but all I have to say to that is you must be new here. First disclosure for this video is the fact that this is kind of sort of like life-changing information. So please be loving and intentional with the way you use it. I've learned from past experience that anytime I talk about anything that has to do with dreams with y'all, or anything in reference to these type of videos, somehow they tend to go viral. So if this one goes the same way, I feel the need to put that disclosure out there. Please be loving and intentional with the way you use it. We don't use information like this to harm or go against anybody's will. Please only use this for your own benefit and development and growth, to become more aware of yourself, expand your consciousness, be more high vibe, all of that sort of thing, okay? We're loving and intentional here. Second disclosure, I do not recommend doing this if you are not in a really good headspace, if you're not in a good set and setting. And by set and setting, I mean a place that you feel comfortable and safe in, that is environment, people, all of that, okay? And also be conscious and aware of what you're doing and what you consume prior to falling asleep with this. Anything you consume right before going to bed directly affects your subconscious, so always be conscious and aware of that. So basically what I'm saying is treat all of this as if you are about to do plant medicine or psychedelics. Stay safe, stay divinely protected, set intention. This is your consciousness that we're dealing with here, and also different fields of density, time, space, perception that we may not be able to fully understand yet with our human consciousness. At least not currently in this present day. Maybe that will change soon. Okay, all disclosures out the way. So what I am about to share with you all is a lucid dream experience I had back in the beginning of 2022. This is a little bit vulnerable for me, so I ask that you be loving in the way that you receive it. I hope that it's received well. Let's go, let's get into it. So let me address first what lucid dreaming is for people that may not be fully aware of it, or just maybe need a little bit of clarity on that. So lucid dreaming, or at least the way I define it, is the state in which you are more conscious and aware of the fact that you are dreaming, or that you're in a dream. It's giving inception. Therefore, you are able to manipulate and manifest and cultivate energy at will. And also much easier and with much more grace, because you are in a different density, in a different dimension, essentially. It's a completely different plane of existence that we're typically used to here on this plane of density. So it's a practice for a lot of people. I am still playing around with it a lot myself, and I'm still exploring and getting deeper into the sleep states and dreams, because I think I've mentioned this before on other platforms or other forms of content, but I have been having a lot more prophetic and precognitive dreams. So I've just been exploring and studying and experiencing different forms of intuitive rest for, my own self-development and research, but also to share all of that with you guys. So if you guys don't already follow me on other platforms like Instagram, Twitter, my podcast, TikTok, all of that, please do. Also, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Let's do that. Give it a thumbs up, comment, like, share, do all of that great stuff. It really helps out my channel. it helps us get this information out there a little bit more for people to share and experience and just be more aware of. But it also supports me in making more content like this for you guys. So hit those buttons for me. I love you forever. Okay. So I did record this experience because I knew I wanted to share it with you all. So this was on the rising of January 4th, 2022. I've noticed myself when I have a lot of my precognitive, prophetic, really vivid, significant dreams, they're always like in the rising hours. And you guys, I say rising instead of morning because we don't mourn here in the morning. We're rising, okay? We're ascending here. Pay attention to your words, your spells. You're always casting them, okay? It's also neuro-linguistic programming, so we say rising here instead of morning, okay? We don't mourn in the morning. You rise. But anyway, so I tend to have these experiences, I would say between the hours of 4, 5 a.m. and 8 a.m., sometimes a little bit later. That's definitely when I've noticed I've had my most significant dream experiences. I also feel like it's really triggered when I wake up around one of those hours. So recently, I remember waking up around 4 or 5 a.m. and then I went back to sleep and I had a prophetic dream and then I woke up around like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So that's kind of how it's experienced for me. Please, I encourage you guys to share kind of like what you guys experience if this sort of thing happens with you too. Or even if you just notice that there are specific times of the month or hours or days where you dream more vividly, or you may have a lucid dreaming experience, an astral projection. Like I want to hear what kind of experiences you guys have and when you guys have them. This also happens a lot for me around the lunation cycles. I'm gonna have to look back at January 4th and see what sign the moon was in and also what phase it was in. I'll probably drop that either somewhere in the video or down below so we kind of have that for context. But anyway, so this happened on the rising of January 4th. I remember waking up a little bit in the very, very early hours, and then I fell back asleep and fell directly into a dream. And the beginning stages of this dream weren't necessarily lucid, so what I have recorded from memory may not be like as detailed or as vivid because I wasn't necessarily lucid dreaming yet. So basically this dream experience started off with me receiving these two really, really like amazing and abundant gifts from these men. It was like two random men, and again, this might be a little bit spotty and not as detailed because I wasn't necessarily lucid yet at this stage. But I just remember feeling like absolutely overjoyed with these two gifts. I don't necessarily remember what the gifts were. I just remember them being like completely like abundant gifts of some sort, like very, very valuable. But then for a brief moment, I thought to myself, I'm dreaming. This isn't real. This can't be real. Like, I'm dreaming. You know, I could just, like, I felt the energy and it felt, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it didn't feel as dense or it didn't feel as grounded. And that's sort of kind of how I started to take note of the fact that this was not my waking reality. Right after that, I sort of like jumped into a completely different environment and moment. It was almost like a teleportation type of thing. I was now at the beach with some of my best friends and we were having an amazing time. I remember seeing them all there. I saw a light orb. Maybe they were there too. And yet again, this thought came across my mind that I'm dreaming. Like this isn't my waking reality. This isn't real. And I truly started to believe it that time because yet again, I felt it and it was even more potent that time. And I guess it's because I was becoming like more conscious of the environment and, you know, what felt different, what was different. A lot of times when you're dreaming, guys, and this has happened to me before in, I don't want to say astral projection scenarios, because I feel like I astral projected, but I didn't do it intentionally, so I don't know if I would categorize it as that. A lot of times in dreams, you not only can feel the difference, that might be a little bit harder to perceive. What is probably easier to practice in dreams, which I have definitely experienced in, I would say like unintentional astral projection. Yeah, that's probably what I would call it. You may astral project into the same environment in which you fell asleep in, or maybe a different environment that you're familiar with. So let's just say, for example, I was sleeping in this room, and my astral body projected from my physical body, and I am in a dream experiencing this environment and this room. Okay? There are going to be certain indicators and significators in this room that are going to be hints to me that this is not my waking reality environment or room. This is the dream projection of this room. And there's going to be like probably very slight differences at first, but then they'll end up being like really, really big differences to you eventually. So for example, maybe this poster behind me isn't black and white. Maybe it's a completely different color. Maybe that plant is purple instead of green. A lot of times for me, it's things being different colors, different patterns, stuff like that. Maybe even the chair is like a different texture in my dream. Those little significators are going to be like physical sort of hints to you and your subconscious mind that you are indeed dreaming. It's definitely a practice, but once you start to take note of that and get that down, it's going to be really, really easy for you to start lucid dreaming a lot more. I do know a lot of, I would say, like more experts in this sort of thing say it's a really, really good idea to have something physically on your person, even in your waking state, so that when you do fall asleep and you look down, let's say at your body, at your astral body while you're sleeping, you can pick up on that indicator and see, like, is this physical thing still on my body, excuse me? Is it the same color? Is it the same texture? Is it on, a lot of times you can put it on like your wrist or your hand. So if you're always wearing a particular ring or a bracelet, is it on the right finger? Is it on the right hand? That sort of thing. If you can pick up on those things, then you'll know for sure that you're in a dream. For me, I'm able to pick up on the feeling of the environment, and, you know, just things occurring in a way that they don't typically occur in the physical world. So it's definitely something to put in practice, but I just wanted to kind of mention that really quick because lucid dreaming techniques are going to be, you know, some easier than others, and some of them can be unintentional, some of them can be more intentional. It's really how you choose to practice it. In no way am I an expert in this at all, just putting that out there. I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here for the vibes. So anyway, because now I am truly of the belief that I am in a dream and I feel the environment, a lot of times it just feels a lot less dense for me. Things happen obviously a lot quicker, like that sort of teleportation thing was like a huge hint to me, like, wait, like I sort of like within a second, a millisecond, I was in a different area, obviously. Anyway, so I started to really truly feel and believe that I was in a dream. So I figured, you know what, let's have some fun. Let's play around with this. So I started to, in my dream, sort of consciously affirm to myself, I am awake in my dream. I am awake in my dream. And I started to repeat that over and over and over again, like in my, I guess you could say like in my head. I started to repeat that to myself over and over and over again. And as I was reaffirming that to myself, the dream started to become more vivid and more realistic. Everything just started to become and feel so much more real. And I also started to become more and more conscious that I was within a dream, essentially. And I remember once I became conscious enough within this dream, I started to move things around telekinetically, like with telekinesis. Is she an Avenger? That was probably a little corny. Anyway, shortly after that, I sort of like dream jumped again and teleported into yet again another sort of scene within this progressed dream. And when that sort of happened, I sort of started to like lose grip and kind of fall back into like a less lucid state, but I still was kind of aware of what was going on. It was sort of a weird feeling, but I started to realize that, hey, this dream is sort of coming to an end, and there's an appropriate moment for me to wake up. Like that's coming soon. I could tell, especially because oddly enough, things started to feel like weirdly uncomfortable, and I sort of actually didn't necessarily know where I was in this part of the dream. So because of the context and sort of like what was going on, I was in this hallway where there were bathrooms or restrooms, whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the world you're in, washroom. And they were like those small restrooms where it's just like for one person, and each one had a doorway. And as I was walking down this hall, looking at every single restroom and doorway, I realized that every single one was different. And in that moment, I had this complete, like, vast understanding that I can choose which reality I wanted to wake up in, depending on whichever doorway I decided to step through. Again, they all looked completely different colors. They all felt completely different. It's very weird. When you're in a dream, in the dream realm, and you're more conscious, you can feel things a lot more like potently. I guess it's kind of like, if you've ever heard of those stories where people are on plant medicines or psychedelics, and they talk about how you can like feel different colors, or you can taste different colors, and like things like that. That's kind of what goes on sometimes in the dream realm, which I've noticed before. Or maybe that's just me. I don't really know yet. Like I said before, I'm still kind of exploring this topic and learning a lot. But it could just be a thing where a lot of us are a lot more clairsentient in dreams. So maybe we might have to talk about that a little bit more in the future. So because this dream was quickly coming to an end, I had to, make a quick decision on which doorway I was going to step through, essentially. So I chose the one that resonated with me the most. And yet again, I just reaffirmed something to myself within the context of this dream. And I said, I will wake up in my highest optimal timeline. I will wake up in my highest optimal timeline. And as I was stepping through that doorway and waking up and, integrating back into my physical body, I was reaffirming that to myself subconsciously and consciously. I was coming back into this physical reality and in this waking state. But this dream helped me realize even more how dreamlike this reality is, honestly. And in the same way, we can manipulate energy at will here as well. It's, obviously just a little bit more dense here, so we kind of have to like work with it a little bit more. And I just think that lucid dreaming is a really amazing practice because, what you sort of learn in your dreams, you can integrate here in the physical realm. And a lot of the dreams that we have that aren't necessarily lucid are sometimes even our subconscious integrating what we experience here in the physical realm. So I just think dreaming is absolutely amazing, and I'm fully aware that as human beings, we do not fully understand yet what dreaming is, why we dream, how dreaming occurs. Like, there's still so much to be explored when it comes to the topic of dreams. But I'm into it, I'm in it. And I just think that this particular dream that I had, brought about a really, really big lesson and realization for me. And I wanted to share it with you guys because maybe it's something that you can experience as well. And it could help you essentially quantum jump, which is kind of what I'm getting to with all of this. You can quantum jump through lucid dreaming. Like, I'm fully aware of that now after that dream experience, and I think that we can do it very consciously. But like I said with my disclosures in the beginning of this video, do it with a sound state of mind, do it in a good set and setting, and do it with really great intention. For those of you who may not know what quantum jumping is definitely how do I explain quantum jumping for people who are just hearing that term for the first time? I'm sure if you've been on TikTok, you've probably maybe seen it pop up, and maybe even after just watching this video, it's probably going to pop up on your algorithm now because we just know it does that. So quantum jumping is essentially a technique that is supported by quantum physics, where we can intentionally jump timelines where, our energy and our consciousness is jumping and sort of aligning with a completely different version of ourselves, a completely different reality for ourselves. I mean, maybe we won't get into that deep of quantum physics in this video because I'll sit here probably for another hour and a half and ramble and talk your ear off. But there are definitely a lot of techniques out there for quantum jumping. And I just think that it's a really, really interesting and amazing experimental tool for manifesting, your highest optimal timeline. And it could also be referred to as timeline jumping. And it's also sort of backed by the theory of parallel universes, or the multiverse theory, being that there are infinite potentials for the reality that we're living now, infinite possibilities for the reality that we're living now, infinite outcomes, infinite sort of versions of ourselves. What's a good movie reference or show reference for this? If you guys have any ideas, drop it in the comment section. Oh, Loki on Disney Plus is, I would say, a really good representation of understanding what parallel realities and multiverse theory and quantum jumping is. I mean, a lot of like Marvel related shows and films do hint to that a lot. But if you guys know of any other shows or movie references off the top of your head right now, drop them in the comment section below. I can't think of any other ones right now, but I guess to put it into the simplest terms possible, imagine there is another Earth somewhere where you exist and you are living in a more ideal, favorable reality for yourself, and you wanted to energetically align with that conscious version of yourself, that consciousness. Boom, that's like you quantum jumping right there. And I mean, there are a lot of various different techniques for quantum jumping out there. Like I said, a lot of them are on TikTok, but I know another really, really well-known quantum jumping technique is the 2-cup method. It's essentially a law of attraction water manifestation technique. And with this technique, you have 2 glasses of water that you fill up, and you are intentionally programming the water in a way where with 1 cup of water, you're talking about your current reality and what's going on and how you're feeling, etc., etc. But then with the 2nd cup of water, you're intentionally programming it with the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and emotions, and all the things that are aligned with your more ideal, favorable reality and what you want to experience and what you want to manifest. And you take that favorable cup of water and you pour it into the non-favorable reality to basically transmute the energy of the reality that you're in. And then you drink it, and because it's now part of you, it's part of your body, it's becoming one with your cells, it's inevitable, it's like going to happen for you type of thing. If you look up videos on YouTube, there are tons of them, I'm sure. So 2-cup water manifestation method, really amazing technique for quantum jumping. It's mainly backed by Dr. Emoto's water experiment theory. You can look that up too. It basically is scientific proof that water has consciousness, and the molecular structure of water changes upon what thoughts, words, and feelings we project to it. So water takes on this vibrational frequency. As human beings, we need water to survive, and a lot of our body is made up of mostly water. That sort of thing has the same effect on us. Whatever we're telling ourselves, whatever thoughts, words, and feelings we're projecting upon ourselves, we're programming. And this is why setting intention works. This is why prayer works, affirmations, all of that. I remember the first time ever witnessing anything on Dr. Emoto's water experiment, and I was absolutely stunned. Like, I was shook. And quite frankly, I'm surprised it isn't talked about more. But maybe if you've tried the 2-cup water method and that hasn't worked for you, or maybe that sort of manifestation technique doesn't resonate with you and you're more of a dream explorer, definitely try quantum jumping while lucid dreaming, because it is obviously possible. And I will say, if you do try it, this is just full disclosure that you may notice a lot of significant differences in the details of your reality and your life. I remember very shortly after this experience for myself, I started noticing things in my reality that were completely different from how I remembered them. It was very insane to me, very, very unexplainable, very weird, but it was an amazing reassurance that I did indeed quantum jump, and I'm here for it. So I think that is pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, do all those things. I really, really appreciate it. It helps out my channel, and it also supports me in creating more content like this for you guys to enjoy. Let me know what else you guys would like to see. I'll have more videos coming soon. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.